All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of The Blind View here on Rumble. It is hot out there for all of us in the Southwest. Here's your host, Miss Becca Meadows.
Hello, everybody. How is everybody on this wonderful Wednesday evening? Thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of The Blind View. And I apologize for my tardiness, but my stupid computer was in the middle of updates when I came back to it. And I tell you guys, I turned it on like an hour ago and I refreshed my inbox and I was already... I went out there and had dinner with Tim after I had my everything set up in here on my computer. And then I came back in here to log on to the show. And it was in the middle of my computer was in the middle of doing updates. And so I had to wait for my computer to finish the updates and then restart. And then I had to log in. And I just apologize for my lateness, everybody.
Does that mean you're buying us all supper because of that?
Maybe there'll be a little tip.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Hey, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it, Becca. I'm not going to bust your chops over it. It's no worries. You're here now. That's and it's always good to hear from Becca.
Hey, I was just asking for Taco Bell. My goodness, I wasn't asking for nothing expensive.
So, guys, I didn't put a topic on the thread this week, and I apologize for that. I've been kind of busy. But do you guys mind if I start with my topic real quick?
Sure.
Go ahead.
So, on Sunday, I got a call from, I think it was my sister who called me at first, and she said, have you heard or have you talked to John? And I was like, no. And so I got off the phone with her and I called my son up. I said, what's going on? And he said, this morning somebody tried to break into the house. Now, let me tell you guys, my two sons are living together in one of the houses I own in Mesa. And it's a nice house and it's a nice neighborhood. And they've been living there for, since Tim and I left Mesa like 2-3 months ago, they've been living there, right? And my older son is going to work and my younger son's been doing summer school, right? And he had a couple weeks left and we were just waiting for him to finish up his summer school. And then he was planning on moving up here to Payson with Tim and me. And so anyway, I get this call on Saturday that someone tried to break into the house. And so I called my older son and I talked to him about what had happened. And he was pretty worked up. And I called Sean, my handyman in Mesa. You guys have heard me talk about Sean before.
Yes.
Sean and his wife Tanya are both veterans, and Sean, of course, is very dependable and very, like, he knows how to do anything, right? He's like a lot of Americans. He can, think on the fly and do things, right? Well, I explained to him what had happened over at that house, and I asked him if he would go over, assess the damage, take measurements for a new door, because my son told me that the door was badly damaged, the window was shattered, and the frame was damaged, and this guy really beat the crap out of the door. And when he was trying to break into the house where my two kids were, right? And anyway, so Sean went over there and took measurements, and then he went to like Home Depot, I think it was, and priced the door and priced everything he needed. And I cash apped him the money and he purchased the door. I went and installed it. And by that afternoon, they had a new door, right? Thank God.
Did you call the police report?
So listen, my older son called the police when it happened, and the police came out and they said they can't do anything because there was no camera or no pictures. And so let me tell you guys what happened. My son John was in his room and he heard like loud banging on the front door. Now my son works for Garda. I have told you guys that before, remember? And he drives an armored truck.
Okay.
And he hauls I don't know what for Garda. I know probably cash, and I don't know if they also deal in gold and silver bullion or what, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's who he works for, and as part of his job, he carries, right? And so he has a firearm in his home, right?
Mhm.
And he said to me, he said, when I heard someone banging on the door, I thought about grabbing my gun and taking it to the door with me. And then I decided, no, I should just leave it here. And then he went to the front door and he told me that the person was screaming, "I'm your neighbor," and something else. Johnny couldn't catch the something else.
Mhm.
And he thinks it's this one neighbor, right? This neighbor that I have talked to before, this neighbor that my sister told me about run-ins she had with when she lived over at that house. This is the house my parents usually spend winters in, right? You guys have heard me talk about this house
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, you did.
And and so this one neighbor, he gets drunk all the time, and he makes a scene of himself out in the front yard and in the neighborhood when he's drunk, yelling and carrying on and being inappropriate and stuff like that. And so right away when Johnny was telling me on Sunday on the phone what had happened, I right away thought about this particular neighbor, and I'm going to try not to say his name because I don't want to. I mean, I feel bad for this guy. This guy's lonely. He's older. He apparently lost his parents and doesn't have any siblings that are close to him, and he lives all by himself. And like from what I've heard, the neighbors aren't very like friendly to him, right? And but anyway, it's this one guy, and but so anyway, long and short of it is on Sunday, Tim and I loaded up, and Tim drove me all the way to Mesa so I could check on my kids, right? And we actually stayed the night there Sunday night. And we took our dogs with us, right? Because we didn't have anybody to really watch them here. And so we took the dogs with us and stayed Sunday night. And then Monday, we hung out there during the day. But then I had to get back for stuff, and so did Tim. So we left the two of the dogs at the house with the boys Monday night. And then this was all prearranged. On Tuesday, we went back and moved David up here because he's going to finish his summer school online because he's too scared to live in that house after this, because his older brother goes to work all like every day.
Right.
And David would be in that house all by himself in the evening and overnight sometimes. And I don't want to do that to David. He's terrified. So yeah, so my David's here now.
So I have a question
What's
that is kind of off topic here, but I noticed your sons are named Jonathan and David.
Not Jonathan and David, John, John.
Oh,
and David.
okay. John and David. Okay.
Yeah.
Because my siblings are Jonathan and David, so I was gonna go, oh wow.
Well, John and David are really strong biblical names, and I am a Christian, and I have been since I was about 6 years old. And I got a chance to put my faith to the test after the accident. I literally like put my faith to the test after the accident that I'd had for like 6 years before the accident. And so I'm a very strong believer. And
now do you think that the guy did that because he was just so dang drunk, or what is your speculation?
I wasn't here, but from what was described to me, I suspect that he was high or strung out on something. I suspect drugs and possibly alcohol as well. Probably alcohol as well, because like I said, this poor man, he's very lonely. He lives an isolated life. And
it doesn't excuse his behavior. Even
I know, I know,
agree.
but he's had a progression of like being the spectacle of the neighborhood, right? Because of his drinking. And so, I mean, it makes sense to me that maybe on Sunday he got up early, because this happened early in the morning. He got up early and started using drugs and or alcohol early in the morning. And then next thing we all know, he's down the street banging on my kids' front door and even smashing the door in.
Well, you're
And-
saying as though it's a mitigating circumstance. I think the opposite. I mean, if it's exacerbated by alcohol or drugs, it's even worse crime, like worse behavior. It's not
I'm sure, but the cops didn't do a darn thing about it. They
Well,
told my kids that there's nothing they could do about it because it wasn't caught on tape. So my son, my older son has taken upon himself to pick out a security system with cameras and all kinds of stuff that he wants to install over there. And
I wonder how they investigated crimes before the cameras installed in the houses. I mean, it's just a lazy way out. Okay, we don't have cameras. I guess we cannot do anything about it. Get your ass to work and investigate.
Well, and probably though, because there was no bodily injury and no actual property damage other than the door. I mean, I'm not defending them, but
I
yeah.
won't press charges. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just off on crime.
Well, these days it's getting to the point that most people, I think, have security systems on their homes and the ones with cameras and stuff because they're really not that expensive anymore. They're not that outrageously priced like they were when that awesome technology first came out decades ago, And so yeah, I sent, like, Johnny and I went halves on it. John said, "Hey Mom, I looked up this Simply Safe home security system and this is how much it is." And he said, "Will you go halves with it on me?" And so we did. We just haven't ordered it yet.
that's a great option actually, because with
Yeah.
that you don't have to pay for monitoring. You can monitor it yourself.
Right. You can view it on your phone and you can, see who's on the other side of the house. Now, here's another thing. So my son John and my son David, they want me to put a security door on the front of that house like I have on my 1911 house, right? But I can't, and I know that house can't support one because when my elderly parents first moved in there back in 2022 and we're spending winters there, back then I tried to get a security door put on the front of that house, and I had like Home Depot come out and take measurements and everything, and then they broke the news to me that you can't put a security door on that kind of door frame. They said they'd have to rip out the door frame and door and put in a whole new door that could support one of the security doors. You know what I mean?
And you probably don't want to pay for all that, or
right. I didn't back then, but now my son John's asking for it. But here's the thing, he's only going to be living in the house for a few more months because I plan on putting it up for rent, and I wanted him to move out like July 1st, but he's asking me to let him stay till September 1st because he has a buddy who's planning on moving down here from Montana and
Actually,
in September, and they want a room together. So
let me mention this idea, and I don't know if it's feasible or not. But there are things that are generally called door sentinels, and they actually they install behind the door, and like if the door opens inward, they prevent that. It's like a lock, but it's like a whole platform.
what is it called?
It's called a door sentinel.
A door sentinel.
Yeah.
Is there any way you could text that to me after the show, Brandon?
Yeah. I
Thank
can
you.
do that. Because yeah, you're right. Like I'm a renter, and so we can't make a lot of modifications either. But like you're right about it's not super expensive to get at least
Right.
like basic camera, because like we have a Roku video doorbell, and it was like $100, and it's quite good.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we wanted to like secure our door,
Mhm.
we can't just change out the locks or whatever anyway, because
Mhm.
it's not permitted. But we could get like a door sentinel though.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad everyone is safe though, for real, because
Yeah.
that could have been a
Yeah,
very
for
very
sure.
very bad situation.
Yeah.
and
And-
people
and-
ask,
So, but that's not the end of the story, though. So, long and short of it, Davey didn't want to stay there, so Davey is here now, and it's really nice having one of my kids back under my roof. And he still has to finish up his summer school. He's doing it online, but he's such a joy to have around. Like, so I didn't bother to put anything in his room for him before he got here because I wasn't sure where he wanted to sleep, because there are 2 spare rooms in the house that he could we could have modified to make available for him. Or there's an ADU out in the yard, that auxiliary dwelling unit. And Davey
Yeah.
really likes the look of that thing, and so we've been getting it ready for him. Right, we ordered a futon bed for him. You know, one of those ones that folds up into a couch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Davey picked one out on Amazon, so I ordered that for him, and that'll be here on Friday. And we have a microwave that we gave him to put in there on the counter. And what else? There was and my dorm fridge. You know that dorm fridge I've talked about before? I never use that thing anymore. I had a bunch of old stuff in it because I literally haven't opened it in months, right? And so I threw out all the old stuff, and Davey washed it down, and he took that out there. So he has a fridge out there. He's got a little microwave. He's got a cupboard where he can store snacks. He's going to have like a closet area where you can hang up clothes. The back part of it is a storage unit. I think I said that we're planning on taking the wall out, and it'll make the bedroom bigger for him. He's really liking it, though.
Well, and I just clap because that recently passed here in Arizona. It's perfectly legal now to have an auxiliary dwelling unit, but that's a pretty recent development here in Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's cool.
they do say that the number one crime, I believe, in America now is B&E, breaking and entering. So
Yeah.
I'm glad everyone is safe, for real. Glad both your kids are
Yeah.
okay, and thank the
Yeah.
goodness, thank the Lord for Sean because I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
real blessing to have him around for sure.
Yeah. Sean and his wife Tanya have been a real blessing to me for a long time. I met Tanya a few months after I left my husband back in the fall of 2016. And I met Tanya, and then I met her husband, Sean, shortly thereafter. And I think I mentioned they're both veterans, and they're both so, like, anytime I need anything, you know, I'm a blind homeowner, right? So every time something breaks, who do you think I call? I always call Sean, because I get ripped off by outfits so often, right? If Sean knows how to do what I need done, you know, he's a friend of mine and he's honest. Plus, I'm helping out vets, you know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
So,
Yeah. And he doesn't charge you arm and a leg for services?
no, he doesn't.
Well, that's good.
And since I moved to Payson, he's gonna be like kind of managing my homes for me in Mesa for a while. I plan on renting them out, but like I still need to, like, the one house, I still got to get the garage cleaned out. And then the other house, the one that my kids, well, are still living in, because my older son's still living in it. When John's finally done with the house, I got to go in and move all that stuff out and get the house cleaned out because I want to put it up for rent.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, I'll say as somebody who is renting and who has been renting for all of my adult life, we're not all bad. We get a really, really bad reputation, renters do, but we're not all bad. Although some of us are, you know, some renters, they do not treat houses well. So I think the renter reputation is somewhat deserved, but only somewhat.
So my late mother-in-law had a pristine rental history, and she was really proud of her rental history because she'd worked really hard to never be late on her rent and to never leave damage, you know, never damage the property and stuff like that. And I learned a lot from her about how renters feel, right? And I never, so I rented when I was locked under the guardianship, but I was never allowed to speak to the landlords. The guardian always spoke to the landlords. So actually my rights were being violated a lot by one of the landlords back then. But then I didn't rent because I bought a house in Missoula when I was locked under the guardianship. And then I didn't rent for a long time until I was in Minneapolis for a year right after I got out of the guardianship, when I was first doing my blind immersion training at Blind Inc. in Minneapolis. And that house that we rented we were like, it was like August, and we were looking for a house. We suddenly decided we're moving to Minneapolis, right? And we were looking for a house to rent in Minneapolis, and there was nothing because everybody, I mean, people had moved in for the fall, the people that were going to school and working there all winter and stuff, right? And there were no rentals. We finally found one rental, and it was right by the airport, and it was terrible. I hated all the racket and the smell of the jet fuel on our clothes and crap all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was like the last time I rented, and
I'm sure you don't miss it.
Oh, I don't at all. It's really nice being a homeowner because you can decide, like when I left my ex-husband, I decided I wanted to remodel my bathroom and make it look really great, right? And I was able to do that. I didn't have to go ask my landlord's permission, right? And there's been other improvements I've made to the house, like putting new windows in, putting a new roof on, putting solar panels on. I did all that to my first house in Mesa that my ex-husband helped me find years ago, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely advantageous to have your own property and making upgrades as you please.
Yeah, well, let me tell you though, I have friends who seem to think that there's something wrong with me because I won't just let them move into one of my houses and quote unquote rent it from me. Now, these are individuals who don't have good rental histories, who don't have money for first, last, and deposit. They just expect their friend Becca to let them move on in and then take advantage of her on the rent whenever they want. And she shouldn't say a word about it because you know what I mean?
Oh, don't do that.
And,
Golden. Go ahead.
And so I'm still looking for a professional company of some kind to manage my two homes in Mesa for me. I'm just not trying really hard because they're not really ready yet. Like I said, I got to finish cleaning out the garage on the one, and the other house my two kids are still technically, well, my one son's still technically living in. So.
Oh, you didn't know? I was fixing to move in tomorrow.
No, I mean, I think that I hear all the time, like the golden rule is if you don't want to lose a friend, don't borrow money. I think the same applies to friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, it's me, your favorite author, Rebecca S. Meadows, here with another message. You know, you can go up to Amazon and search Rebecca Meadows author to get your hands on each of my books. And each book is available in Kindle, digital download, Amazon print on demand, or on Audible. So enjoy, and please send me an email at beccameadows76@gmail.com and let me know what you thought of my book, okay? Oh, and please go up and write a review for me too. Thank you. Peace out.
Okay. Are we all back?
Believe we are.
I think so.
The reason I wanted to bring that up is because I've been hearing it's a really tight rental market and it's hard to find rentals, especially in the Phoenix, in the Sun Valley, right? So I've got two homes in Mesa I'm going to be renting out, just so people know.
Well, if any viewers are looking for the home,
and when I figure out what company I'm going to have manage it, I'll let everybody know too, so they can go look at the homes and see if they want to rent one of them. Because I've been hearing for a long time that people just can't find rentals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, no, I would say the problem is that everything is just so damn expensive. Rentals are findable. What my perspective is that it doesn't make sense to buy a house, but even
Brandon,
rentals, it's
are you guys
want, income to be 3 times the rent, and the rent is like $2,500 a month for all 2 bedrooms. It's like, wow, you got like.
So Brandon, like, are you guys renting a house or an apartment?
No, a house.
So how many bedrooms and baths is it?
No, so ours is 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath.
Okay.
No, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say how much I pay because I got a really good thing going. So I'm gonna keep mine.
Okay. Well,
I
because
ain't
here's
moving
my
at
thing.
all.
I'm trying to figure out what to rent my homes for. I talked to this one property management company, and they say I have to pick what the rent's going to be, and they'll just keep like 10% of the rent.
That's usually how it goes.
But-
Yes.
But here's my problem. I tend to really lowball myself on things, and I don't want to be taken advantage of. But then on the other hand, I also don't want to go too high and wind up locking people out that I would really like to have as renters, like just
Yeah.
normal people. I don't want a bunch of rich snobby people. You know what I mean?
Well, Becca, but you can find the average. I mean, talk to people, look up rent yourself, and see what similar
Yeah.
house goes for in that kind of neighborhood.
Yeah.
And go with average. I mean, you don't have to do super low or super high.
Okay. So
Well, and
here's another
honestly,
question I have.
If the house is paid off, I mean, you could also just decide like how much income do you want.
Wait. Well, I have a loan on both houses though because I bought
Oh.
this place. You see what I mean?
Oh,
and
yeah.
and I
Mm.
paid off some other debts. So I have a loan on both houses.
Yeah.
But I can right now I can afford to make the monthly payments on both loans out of my monthly income. But if I start renting them out instead of let them sit empty, that'll just give me more cash each month. So I won't feel so scrunched because I'm having to fork over house payments. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Right.
that's why I'd like to rent them out. But anyway. So do you guys have any ideas of
What?
I don't know. I guess nobody does. I'll just do some research and see if I can find fair market rent for the two places.
Well,
Yeah, the average is probably the best.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, we're not even in your state.
Right.
So
Well, I'll have Tim go online with me tonight and do some research, and then, I guess I will probably.
Well,
you guys
because
know
a lot
how to?
depends too on like the neighborhood and like yeah, it's hard. There's a lot that goes into it.
So, does anybody know how to pick a good? What is it called? Property management company? Because let me tell you, I rented for years in Missoula, right? And at one point, I was in a rental, but with this property that was managed by this property management company. And I was so frustrated with the property management company because they wouldn't do crap, right? And I wound up getting the name and phone number of the homeowner because he stopped by one day, and I don't remember how it came about, but he wound up giving me his information, and so I made a note of it. And then the next time I needed something done, yes, I notified the property management company, but then I turned around and notified the homeowner too because I knew he'd actually come and take care of it. You know what I mean? And he did. What was his name? Gosh, I'm talking about this was way back in like 1997 when I was first locked under the guardianship and I was renting a house on East Central. And that man, I just remember when I would call him to come fix things, he would show up and fix them. That darn property management outfit. They didn't fix anything for me as the tenant. And I bet the homeowners weren't very happy with them either, you know?
Yeah, that kind of
Well,
thing.
and it's not just that, but it like the 1990s were different because now it's just so formulaic. I'll just say that. I'll just say that. Sometimes now it's like if someone's income is sufficient but their credit is not, they won't rent, and it's like, okay, do you want money or not? Like you're supposed to, fix stuff. And I mean, I don't know. I see the value of rental management companies, yes, but man, so many of them, right, like you're saying, they just seem to give such crappy service and expect so much.
Yeah, and as a blind homeowner, I really don't want to be taken advantage of by my tenants, right? So that's why I like the idea of hiring a property management outfit. But like I said, how do I know they're not going to take advantage of me because I had bad experiences with them as a tenant, And I'm thinking, were they also maybe like the homeowner back then? He probably wasn't happy with their performance either. So both sides are probably unhappy with them, So I guess I'm open to suggestions if anybody knows of alternatives to property management. Like I've even been researching alternatives to traditional rentals, right? Like I think I talked on a previous show about how I looked into bed and breakfast. Did you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like Airbnb, yeah.
yeah, Airbnb, and that's really exciting, right? Because you can make a lot of money renting your house out Airbnb, but you could also sustain real damage to your house and then have a lot of, you know what I mean? Because I'm sure there's some kind of assurances you get before, like, they let people come in. Like, they're supposed to have their credit card numbers so you can go after them for repairs and stuff like that. I'm sure there's a security deposit for long-term stays and stuff like that.
Now, if any of the viewers want to email the podcast and tell you their suggestions, what's the email address again?
It's Becca, that's Becca, Meadows, that's Meadows 76 at gmail.com.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you need to be really careful with that because, it's hard, and knowing how in this country right now the tide is turning like against the landlords because landlords are evil kulaks, evil capitalists,
right?
Good
and all that makes great sense. But you also can't leave your houses sit empty for a long period of time because they'll start falling into disrepair, and you might have squatters move in and all of that crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I don't want to let them sit empty for too long.
But why? My question is, I'm sorry, but why do you want to hold on to them? I think early on you were thinking about selling them. So
I thought that too, actually.
Yeah, but have you guys researched the market for selling homes right now? Because everything I'm hearing is telling me that it's really hard to sell a home right now, and it's not the right time.
I agree with you completely, Becca, and I think you're building long-term income by renting them out as opposed to a one quick hit of cash.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. And so I could rent them out and probably
none of us can afford to buy a house.
Probably make close on the rent. I could probably make close to what I need to cover both house payments, right? And then I'll be, I'm paying them out of my monthly income right now anyway, but if I was making rent on both houses, that would just be that much more money from my personal monthly income I could hold on to instead of having to make those house payments, right? So it would make my monthly quality of life better. I'd be holding on to my homes and building equity, you know what I mean?
That is true.
And
inflation is now again at all-time highs relative to just 2023.
Yeah.
It's like I've heard from people making $70,000, $80,000 a year saying, man, I make a good income, but even I question the ability of, myself long-term to take part in the American dream.
Yeah, but did you actually look into it or just heard it? Like, because hearing it's one thing, but if you actually talk to the rental, real estate agent and get their advice. Because renting is not that, okay, I don't think you guys know, but we are landlords too. Like, we have rental property. And we do have a person who manages our property. But again, you have to be really selective with your tenants, and it does take work. Like, you need to make sure everything is going smoothly and they pay on time. And if appliances break, you have to go and replace them. And there is some stuff that is involved into it, and you have to be. Really
let me ask you this though, just a simple question. You don't have to go in depth if you don't want to, but as the owners of the property, how much control do you have over things as compared with the management company?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Well, I'm just saying, like how much control do you have over things, prices or appliance brands, or how much control do you have Or is it more like the management company just says, okay, we'll manage the property for you. You just sit down, chill out, relax. We got it.
No, we don't do management companies. Mm-mm.
In
Yeah.
most
So
states,
you guys-
in most states, the renters have all the rights.
I know that's the problem.
And Brandon, a property management company is there to facilitate for you. They don't define anything. It's not like they just make up prices out of thin air for something. If a tenant
Yeah, they
breaks
do not.
something, and I've had this, if a tenant breaks something like a disposal, guess what? You're paying for it. No matter how many times that happens, you're going to be paying a lot. Renting
Yeah.
is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Renting as a landlord's a pain in the
Yeah.
butt, or renting in terms of just being a renter of that property is a pain in the butt.
As a landlord.
As a landlord, you have
Yeah.
very little rights. The renters, the tenants in most states have more rights than the owners.
Yeah, remember what happened during the quarantine when landlords were forced to let their tenants stay in the homes, and they weren't forced to pay any rent, so a lot of people just blew off their rent and didn't pay it for months on end.
See,
Yeah.
Remember that?
We're not
Yeah, I
that
don't wanna-
kind of renter, you know. Right, I agree.
Right.
It is very important to carefully select. Yes, I agree with
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But we're not all pieces of crap like that, though. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, I
I've worked with
understand
people
that.
at job sites that do stupid stuff too. It's like, you know, you're not supposed to flush that down the toilet. Why do you do this?
But
And
Brandon, how does an individual like me find an individual like you who's a good renter, right? Other
Yeah.
than having somebody to research the background of the renter and stuff like that, and you know what I mean? I
And you
guess
have to be really careful too, because if you publicly put the announcement, like, you know, the ad, and somebody shows up that you don't want to rent to, I'm not gonna
Uh,
specify any demographics or like anything like that, but you know, let's say mildly undesirable people. And if you
Uh-huh.
say no, they can raise up stinks like, oh, you're discriminating. You have to let us in. And you know, and the way the system works today, they probably could have a case against you.
Anya, please, I'm still here.
Yes.
Let me
No,
mention this, Becca. I think there are certain services though, like one that comes to mind, and I think they're currently embroiled in a bit of a lawsuit about this or that. I didn't click the link, right? But there's a platform that I know of called Invitation Homes, and I think they are kind of supposed to do some pre-screening work. So I think there are ways that are supposed to be helpful for landlords.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, let us know what you decide to do, and you know, I don't know how much you want to get into it in a later podcast, but
Yeah.
I'll be very curious to know what
I
you decide.
I do have some ideas in my heart and mind.
Mhm.
I just want to try to do some research and see if I can facilitate one of them and make them happen. And I don't want to discuss them at this point.
Yeah. I get that.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
But you know, be very curious, and I'm sure some of the listeners might be curious to know kind of what happens in the future down the road. So
Oh yeah, I'll keep you guys
Everyone
posted.
posted.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting process, the idea of becoming a landlord.
Yeah,
So-
well, keep us posted. Well, that's before you got on, Becca. We discovered that not everybody gets emails for the top with our topics. Now I thought about it. I think I know what I personally did that Gina didn't get it and Paul didn't get it. Right? I think I replied only to Brandon. That's why I just pressed Control R, like in my Outlook. I should do Control Shift R. That's
cool.
why. Yeah, and I was like, why did you guys not get it? But yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know why they did not get yours, Brandon. Though, maybe you did the same thing, just replied to.
Oh no! I did reply all.
Huh?
No, I didn't see yours either, so that's weird.
I almost always do reply all, just because it's like, you know, I don't want there to be anybody left out. Like, I'll just reply, and then if somebody doesn't need it, they can just delete it.
Hey guys, can I tell you one more thing about my son and the ADU real quick?
Sure.
You guys are probably gonna laugh about this. The other day, like the other day he was in the house and he started walking out, and we had been talking about different things we could do to the ADU to make it more comfortable for him, right? And he goes, "Mom, is it okay if I I thought he said guests in the ADU. And I stiffened up, right? I was like, and I thought, why does he want to have guests in the ADU, right? And then I said, "What, son?" And he said it again, and I realized what he was saying is it okay if I have Gus in the ADU? So you guys remember Gus? You guys remember Gus?
Yeah.
The kitten that we got recently?
Yeah.
David really likes Gus. He likes.
Okay.
And David really likes the dogs too. We have 5 dogs now, right? That's a lot of big dogs.
Oh yeah, that's a ton.
And I honestly figured my son would get hurt and he'd be complaining about all the dogs. No, he loves the dogs, especially the new dog. He seems to have a special bond with Paige. And Paige, like, will go out to the ADU and sit on the porch, you know, while he's in there hanging out and stuff like that. He was telling me about this, right? And he was like bright-eyed about it. You know how you can tell by a person's voice what if they're smiling and if they're happy? Well, he was smiling and happy when he was telling me about Paige coming out to the ADU to hang out on the porch and wait for him to come back in, you know?
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Ladies and gentlemen, is this another? I think so. We'll be right back.
Hey, everybody, are you enjoying the show? Are you enjoying the books? Are you enjoying everything we're doing here at Blue Butterfly Enterprises? If so, go up to bluebutterflyenterprises.com and check out our store and buy some of our memorabilia. Wouldn't it be cool to have a Becca's World hat or t-shirt or coffee mug or bumper sticker for your car? I'm going to get one for my car when I get a car that I can drive.
Well, you know what, Brandon? If you in fact did reply to all, I was just thinking, if Anya only sent it to you, you're replying to all, just goes to her.
Oh, all right.
That could be okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was doing it on mobile.
mobile.
So I was doing it. Yeah, I was doing it on mobile, and some things are not always as clear. Although, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Don't you ever stop talking?
we're not talking. Well, I guess we are.
Yeah, well, I saw everybody's topic. That's why I was like, okay, I didn't know until right before the podcast that you guys didn't.
Well, no, because Paul, I got yours, and I got Anya's.
Yeah, I know, but I purposely went.
Do you
to
think
Sydney.
somebody is hacking into our system and meddling with our intercompany communications folks?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe. I was gonna say.
We
I
are
don't
so
know.
important.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Yes.
You should defend it, Becca. There's
I-
people saying
We all should
I
defend
don't
it.
want it to be Blue
Blind
Butterfly,
Beauty.
Blue Butterfly Enterprise. I want it to be Blue Bumblebee. You should say no. I am Becca S. Meadows, and it's Blue Butterfly. You scoundrels, and it's not gonna change. You should defend it.
Oh,
Okay, so who wants to go with the topic?
okay. Brandon's done enough talking for the day, so why don't we just let him continue doing that?
What's up, baby girl?
No. Anya, I think your topic is more timely, certainly literally. So
What's
if you
wrong,
want to
baby
go.
girl?
Oh well, I mean, I don't know. We can try and see what you guys have to say. I wanted to talk about the celebration of the 250th birthday of America.
Girls doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Okay.
on the air?
What about it?
So I wanted to ask what you guys thought in terms of the preparation. Like, what do you think? How it is going on a national level? How is it? Do you think it's sufficient? Do you think it's celebratory enough? Like, what are your thoughts?
Hey! I'm sorry, you guys. It's my dogs.
Well, those are fireworks of a different kind, but that
No,
was the fireworks.
honestly, I'm really I don't know if you'd say downhearted, but I am surprised about how much pushback there's been. And for example, I think we all know about all the artists that have pulled out of the concert, and it's like, okay, guys, it's supposed to be about celebrating 250 years of the greatest country on earth.
Yes.
Okay, let's not. Why do we have to make everything so damn political? This is ridiculous.
So for those who are not filled in,
exactly,
living under a rock,
about the politics of it all. It shouldn't be about the politics.
I agree with Brandon. I totally agree with Brandon. He's absolutely right. I'm getting fed up with the politics. I am so excited for this year, the 250th anniversary of our country. It's going to be great. I
hope it is.
On a normal year.
What bands or artists have pulled out of the concert, and what was the concert fixing to be?
Well, okay, so there's like 9 of them. I don't have a list of them already. Sure. You can easily find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, and they're saying, like, they're saying, okay, I thought. Well, see, and the thing is, I think that they were correct in the first place. They were saying, I thought that it was apolitical. I thought it was just a celebration. But then they look at who's putting it together, and they're like, oh no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
like, guys, even that organizer says we don't want this to be political. We want this to be a celebration of America's 250th birthday.
All I will say about that, and I will only say this once, is that I find that the people, no matter what side you're on, the people that want us to quote unquote all get along are the loudest people.
Yeah,
and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Stupidest.
Because I never say I want us all to get along. I never say that. I think it. I behave that way. I want all of us as the United States of America to get along. That's what I want. But you know why I don't say it? Because my actions need to speak louder than what I'm just saying.
How dare you?
Well,
that's all I'm going to say about that.
I want to just say, the reason I even brought this up, not because it's literally coming up, in a couple of weeks, but also, I watched the show and they were talking about, they were going through the years of celebration. Like they were talking about 1976, which was the 200th anniversary. And, the spirit was entirely different because the country was way more united. And, people are saying that everything was, people were talking about this for weeks and having flags up and, getting concerts put together, all kinds of good stuff. So right now, it's just so different now. And I mean,
the spirit should be even stronger this time, you'd think, huh?
Yeah, but if you have millions of people who don't give a shit about this country who live here, then what do you expect? I mean,
but there's still a lot of people who do love America still, and I don't know. I believe that the people who do love America are going to be coming out to celebrate America's birthday this year. You know what I mean?
Well, sure they will, but I'm saying that it's missing that unity. It's missing that entirety. They played those clips from those years, and nobody was okay. You cannot get along for everything, of course, but when it comes such a big celebration, such big holiday, everybody has to be more spirited, and people that they're so hateful towards America, and it just
I've said it before. There's a lot of people who blame our leaders for the way that America is, and I look at it this way. And the way that I look at it is look, if you look at your neighbors suck, and your neighbors probably think you suck, and so those neighbors that suck, they just get into positions of power, and so the people that suck are now leaders, and the people that are your neighbors suck, and so when everybody sucks, I mean that's pretty much what's going to happen.
And that's the whole problem. People shouldn't start with the attitude that anybody sucks. People need to start with a positive attitude when they set out to do things, not assuming that the next guy's going to be a lazy, low down, no good cheater.
Yeah, but if the person in power is a lazy, low down cheater or whatever, then they're going to think everyone's like that.
Well, I think maybe Americans need to get more involved in their government, and more Americans need to actually go vote. Um, I think there's a lot of Americans who take the easy way out and make up excuses why they shouldn't go vote. And voting
Listen,
is
I'm
very
gonna
important.
play, and I can't play it well, but I am gonna play the age card here, okay? Because I'm older than some of my co-panelists, okay? So I can say, because I lived through it, even in the 1990s and the early 2000s, we were more unified. We could agree to disagree. We did not agree on everything. No, we never have. But we didn't kick people out of Thanksgiving Day celebrations just because we disagreed. We didn't get divorces and legal separations just because we didn't agree.
Yeah, but what my point is,
but it was like, okay, we're just going to have to agree to disagree.
yeah, but my point is you have like people get mad at our leaders because they are behaving the same way we on and us as everyday people are behaving the exact same way as our leaders are behaving. So why are we getting mad at them? We as a society are behaving this way. I'm not saying anyone here on the podcast is by any means, but we as a society are behaving this way. So why are we getting mad? I mean, I'm not saying be complacent and I'm not saying be apathetic, but to me, there's no mystery of why this is or why we are the way that we are. Because I think in many ways we've allowed as a society this to happen, and how we come back from that is we all do try to get along and we all do try to agree to disagree, and we don't block people because we disagree with them. We allow them to talk and they allow us to talk. I just don't know if we're at that point, if we'll ever get back to that point anymore because we are so divided.
That is true. And then I want to make one more point on the organization of this event, of the celebration of 250. I don't think they're doing such a great job. I remember Trump was saying a couple of years ago, like, oh, like I'm going to have like parades and all this, like, starting nearly like a year before that. We're going to do this and this and that. Of course, he was not going to do it single-handedly, but
yeah, I remember that
is happening. And one more thing. So these artists, so-called, they withdrew, right? They go, okay, we're not going to participate. So Trump goes, okay, fine. I'll just talk. Well, okay, Trump, we like to hear you talk. I like hearing you talk, but we don't want to have another rally. It shouldn't be about you. It should be about America. So why don't we bring some other bands? There are plenty of bands who will be honored to perform those clowns.
Well, I think President Trump. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just didn't know if I was muted. I think President Trump can put on a pretty good show all on his own when it comes to Independence Day. Imagine Trump leading some kind of like big bash that's focused on our history and the amazing things America has done over the last 2.5 centuries. And I mean, there's a lot of things Trump could do to build a really great program that lasts like 8 hours, and he could bring in other people on the show to talk about America too and what America means to them. Like, there's a lot of us who really love America, and I think maybe if Trump puts out the word that hey, he wants some people who love America to go online and record a message, and then he could show some of those on Independence Day when he's doing his big production about America.
Well, but see, it's not Trump's job to run the whole show. He's president. He has the whole committee dedicated to organizing this event.
Well,
I don't think they're doing a very good job right now.
Well, exactly. Yeah. But as the host of the event, though, he could be like, okay, Joe, I want you to do this, and Betty, I want you to do that, and Susie, I want you to do this, or he could be like, Here, I want you guys to form these committees. I want these committees to come up with these sorts of ideas for the Independence Day show, you know?
And I think that's what Anya is saying, but her point is very well received by me. It's like, oh, you're just gonna talk Trump? Oh, okay, that's kind of self-absorbed, man. Like
I mean,
that's not what it should be.
And I think you know we've all seen Trump's numbers amongst you know conservatives and obviously people who are not fans of his, and those numbers ain't necessarily super high. And so I really think the more he talks, the less much of America will tune in. Now there will
I
be
know,
some who will
that's a good
tune in,
point too. That's a good
but
point.
I for one, I always enjoyed his rallies. I enjoyed the stuff he would say, especially the stuff that would make the liberals' heads catch on fire. You know what I mean?
That's why
Yeah,
they
but
won't
this
be
isn't
watching.
supposed to be that, though.
Yeah,
I
I
know,
agree with that.
and that's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is that Trump lead the parade, and that the whole event be like featuring like like noteworthy Americans or noteworthy things that have been done in the last 250 years. America's done a lot of really great things, right? And somebody should put together some kind of schematic of all of it and maybe show it on Independence Day, and also include, like, we have so many military heroes and just everyday heroes. Remember heroes like Captain Sully Sullenberg. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Yes, like
The
him.
guy that
Like,
landed that airplane? Yeah.
yes, like I think Trump could reach out to Americans who've done amazing things like that and have them also speak about what America means to them on Independence Day. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, one of the ideas I would have would be to invite some smaller bands from smaller towns, not that well recognized, but who would be happy to perform, who are patriotic and won't be acting like these punks who just pulled out. Like, you know what?
For
And then
sure.
it's an excellent
Sure.
chance for them
Yeah.
to get famous too. So why don't we put them instead
Yeah.
instead of a rally or something? No, it could, maybe there's still time. Maybe it will play out better than I'm hoping. But
Hopefully.
yeah.
I agree with you. Hopefully.
But I just don't feel that spirit in the air just like it was in 1976 from what I hear.
well, you know, a lot of
I
people
know, and I think
ask-
that's sad. I just think that's sad. We're
lot of people-
still American in America.
a
Paul,
lot of
what you were
people
saying?
want to know, and I think the answer is no. But you know, after 9/11, for the most part, America came together, and I say for the most part. But if 9/11 was to happen today, we would not come together as a nation. We wouldn't.
No.
We wouldn't. I'm sorry.
Right.
We
And
wouldn't.
that's sad. Okay, let's not make it 9/11. Let's say they blew up the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, let's say that they blew up a building in Chicago, or you know.
Okay, but if
Arlington,
okay,
West Virginia.
if you know
What
would
if they
happen?
blew up the space station?
You know what would happen if they blew up the Golden Gate Bridge? You'd have people that are very conservative and go, "You see, that's what them liberal Californians get." And if something happened in, say, Texas, you know, something happened in Texas, and something blew up there in Dallas, a big building blew up in Dallas, you'd have all the people on the left going, you see, that's what all them right-wing wackos get. That's what would happen.
Well, I know you're a little bit
I mean, I'm
exaggerating.
extreme,
But
but
you
That's
guys,
so shallow.
you don't have to go very far. I don't want to get into the new topic at all because we're almost out of time. But I wanted to say, like, you know, such an event that should have no question around it, like Carmelo Anthony case that just got verdict on. You know, obvious murder, premeditated, obvious murder, and we still have people who say, no. You know, all these protests in front of the courthouse saying, "A good cracker is a dead cracker." Like, what kind of language is that? You know, like, even over murder, like, you know, we make it all about race, and not we, they make it all about race and, you know, such obvious things. So, and you guys are right. So if some bigger event like a building blow up or something like that, it would be still the same thing. People would be still on the opposite side. They would never come.
And for the record, I am not saying, no matter what side you're on, for anyone listening, that you are like that. I'm not saying that that everyone is like that on either side. I'm just saying, I've got to witness it. I've gotten to see the hardcore extremes. And I'm sorry, I just know how society is. And maybe I'm jaded. Maybe I need a more positive outlook. I mean, that's totally possible. And this is me not even watching the news very often. So this is just what I see.
I just think that's sad. I hate to think that America is even falling. I think eventually that will happen, but I don't have to like it, and I don't like it.
So I think America is going through some changes, but all living organisms go through changes, right? And I think it's going to be a time of great learning, a time of great invention, a time of great possibilities, and great things.
Because like you said, Becca, I mean, Alexander Graham Bell, Walter Disney, Thomas Edison, where did they all come to? From admittedly other countries. They came to America.
America, yes.
They were
the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Yeah. And I don't know what political ideations they had, and I don't care. We wouldn't be the country that we are if it weren't for them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and just to finish this topic off and kind of on a positive note, I mean, I hope you guys each personally do something good for the celebration. I know we'll have other shows before this, but I just want to say my husband gave me a little silver elephant necklace to wear because of the Republican Party. So I'm going to wear it throughout the Independence Day, have it on my neck.
Oh, that's so cool.
silver elephant. So there.
Oh, that's cool.
That's my closing note.
Awesome.
All right, you guys. Well, I am getting hungry. The Brandinator hungers for some beef. So I think I'm going to head out, you guys.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Y'all too.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Becca's World. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.